JT, let's just dive into it. And I let you go first in the Titans pressure draft. I went first in the AFC South pressure draft. So without further ado, here's our under pressure draft for the Tennessee Titans. Who's your number one overall pick, JT, for the person most under pressure heading into the 2024 NFL season?
So really interesting for me to pick one here because I like when we were talking this morning, I have such a different idea of truly what's under pressure right now with this team than maybe you do. And I think that goes to show, especially how we're talking about this. But I think that one of the players on this team who is under the most pressure in this preseason process and into the season is Nicholas Petit-Frere. I think when you look at a guy who is vying for that right tackle spot with a lot of guys who probably are other options at that spot who may also be vying for that spot. Nicholas Petit-Frere has not really had a consistent, go at the right tackle spot in such a long time. You look at, he showed flashes in his first year with the team in his rookie season, although down the stretch, those rookie moments really started to show for him. Then last year, he really did not do himself any favors with the gambling suspension, and then bringing himself into that fold of an atrocious offensive line right there for the rest of the season. He did not help himself either. Now he's also continuing to be hurt with that same injury that kind of sidelined him for the rest of the season. And so this offseason is a huge one for him, as that spot is for him to lose. And Titans, with Bill Callahan bringing in guys like Leroy Watson and, having Jalen Duncan on the roster who could probably vie for that spot, it's going to be his to lose. And I think he may have a really decent shot of losing that spot because of what we've seen over the past couple of months with his play. So for that reason, I think Nicholas Petit-Frere, if he, doesn't meet expectations, there is a real possibility that he could get usurped. And, going into year 3, I know he was a 3rd round, developmental prospect, but you would want to see more from him right now.
That is a crazy first overall pick. I think that's a really insane choice. Is he under pressure this year? Sure. Is he under the most pressure? I think that's crazy. And I think you kind of made my argument for me there at the end. Is he really under that much more pressure than Dylan Radins, than Jalen Duncan, than Leroy Watson, than John Njoku? Who is writing NPF in at right tackle right now with anything other than a faint dry erase marker that can easily be wiped away when nobody's looking? That I don't think it's his to lose personally. So maybe that's where we're kind of off base. Is he probably the favorite for it? I'd give him a slight favorite, but frankly, I think it's going to be really about who shows up in camp. And, based on his injury history and last season, not really getting much of a chance to the gambling, he's not been able to get out there and be with the team for some really important periods of the season. You mentioned him being a third round pick. I think that 3 years removed from being drafted, that draft stock has worn off a decent amount. And I just see all of these guys. I see NPF and Radins and Duncan and Watson and Njoku all kind of in this basket of guys that don't have a starting job and are in the running to earn one, that if they, the guy who ends up winning it, I'd imagine would easily be replaced if he did not perform well. So I don't see him as having that much pressure.
I think he does, considering, what you look at this line, the rest of the line is really set. They have the potential this year to kind of blow Titans offensive lines of years past out of the water. And, Nicholas Petit-Frere, out of those guys we just mentioned, Dylan Radins, who personally, I don't think, if he has to move over to right tackle, that shows me that Nicholas Petit-Frere might as well just hang it up right there, because this team already sees
he can't even be a backup in the league. He has to retire.
Dylan Radins is currently being looked at by this team as a right guard. This team.
But haven't you heard the legend of Dylan Radins versus the San Francisco 49ers in prime time, where he actually ended Nick Bosa's career? 0 pressure, 0 sacks. He was the greatest tackle to ever grace God's earth. Are you not familiar with this
Oh,
tale?
I am, but at the same time, one major amazing performance does not execute the fact
It
that
wasn't
with
even
Bill
that amazing, by the
Callahan
way.
on the roster and on the coaching staff now, thinking that this guy is a right guard, I see no really avenue for Dylan Radins to ever make it back there. But if he did, that would
How can you say there's no avenue? They all
because
have a blank slate.
this team has already told them.
No, we asked Bill Callahan the other day, like, what did you think about these guys playing right tackle? And his answer, without saying it, was like, I don't know these cats. They're going to have to prove it to me. No, like, just I don't think he. I think it's going to be purely like just eye tests. I don't know your name. I don't know much about you. Like, maybe I've watched some of the tape, whatever, but you're going to earn no prerequisite information in his brain in terms of who he wants to go with. They're going to have to go out there and earn it. So why doesn't Dylan Radins have just as good a chance as MPF?
Because we've seen for
Because you
3
just think he's
years
not
now.
good?
I don't think Dylan Radins has what it takes to play on the outside
And you
reliably.
think MPF does for sure? Are we
I
positive
think
about
he has
that?
a lot of better chance to do that than Dylan Radins ever did. I'm not going to look at one game from Dylan Radins where he was just playing absolutely on fire and put that over.
Again, he wasn't. I don't
I'm
want to.
aware.
We don't need to promulgate this lie.
I'm aware.
It was a fine showing as a rookie.
You know, over the consistency of flashes that we've seen from Nicholas Petit-Frere. And maybe that's just because I think that if Nicholas Petit-Frere plays up to his potential this year, I think that this offensive line can be one of the better ones in the NFL this year from the get-go and can absolutely drastically change what the Tennessee Titans identity on the offensive line has looked like for the past 3 years. So maybe I am putting a little bit more stock into a Nicholas Petit-Frere who's been with this team, has survived through this kind of nightmarish, hellish offensive line situation, and now really gets his opportunity to show that he still does belong with this offensive line group. So I think with that all being said, he does have a lot of pressure on him to actually make an impact this season.
And maybe that's where we define pressure differently. Because for me, pressure is a lot less about what you have to gain and a lot more about what you stand to lose. And I don't think he stands to lose a whole lot. I think he's like not got a whole lot right now. You're right that he could earn a starting tackle job in the NFL and get himself paid. Like, yes, he stands to earn a lot, but so do these other guys. Technically, on paper, they may not be the favorites to do it, but like they have just as much an opportunity to do it as MPF does. So I'm not gonna lie, you didn't really change my mind on that one, but maybe you did. The folks that are, if you're listening live with us, let us know in the comments who you think makes a better point on MPF being under pressure this year.